from, excuse me, from not Z-tier players, but, or sorry, from Z-tier players. Crab-Leg Capital, big map. Gotta run the Rainmaker over all of those greats. 5th Gen actually opting for that Vanilla Jet Squelcher, which we saw last time. Storm on that Dualies, providing the Crab Tank, and the actual heavy edit coming out from Tetsu. That's an interesting pick, but that's just going to support the intense aggression that both teams bring here.
Yeah, Tetsu's been running this. There have been a couple of matches that I've seen them pull this out for. I don't know exactly how many because I've only seen so many myself, but this is definitely something they've been running with today. 2 down for each, and the cooler goes out for FF14 right there. So, okay, Tetsu not looking like they're actually going to need that cooler right now because nobody's gone down yet. Storm snuck in though. Oh, and they assassinate the Rainmaker carrier right there, just snuck in right out from under them. And all of a sudden, there is a big stall in the push. So Z-tier looking to take control of mid off of that. Only Tetsu remaining. They're going to have to jump out. No chance that they're going to be able to stand up against the 3-player push or 2-player push. Looks like there's a jump coming in. But Z-tier going to try and get something going. Back and forth so far. This is a map where it's really hard to get out of mid. Like, even if you get to that first checkpoint, every inch past that first checkpoint is a war that you have to fight.
Yeah.
So
they're losing that war right now. We see the Rainmaker just backpedaling, and that's all that I think Luna has been able to do as they're attacked from multiple angles by members of Final Fantasy XIV. It's going to be Tetsu clearing up mid with that heavy edit, get erased. And that is going to give a big opportunity for Final Fantasy XIV. They're able to get that left checkpoint, opting for a quick push. It's going to be difficult to continue it from this angle, but they may be able to make the jump. Chara is able to do just, or sorry, Storm's able to do, no, Chara's able to do just that, moving it up into that top left, getting a few extra points on the board. But on the opposite side of the map, up in that top right, we see that Crab Tank coming out. That was from Storm. That was creating so much space, but being pushed out of that position means that Z-tier players is gaining back that space and momentum. Storm still up in that top left, but Gus cleans it up, and that's going to be a bit of a stabilization for Z-tier.
I would just like to apologize to everyone for the fact that there are 2 Storms and there's one on opposite teams. Like, that's confusing me, and I'm sure that's confusing you, but we're doing the best we can here. We've got 2v2 out on the map. Storm is going to be moving forward and trying to get over the ledge there, but I don't think that they're going to have a way in, so this is going to slow down a little bit. But FF14 in a very solid position right now. They've got a pick, and they've got a significant lead. Like, 30 points is definitely not the easiest thing to get, and they've gotten onto the plat. Caden has snuck in, takes out one. 5th Gen, or sorry, Gus having to stop them. And they're able to get another 6 points, which, again, that is pretty relevant. That's something that is going to make it that much more difficult. Every point you have to fight for on this map. So Z-tier players have the work cut out for them.
Yeah, they need to cross the entire bridge in order to keep up with Final Fantasy XIV. Storm Hero, excuse me, has been doing so much work on these greats. They got taken out once, but they've just been in complete control of them. They get shut down this time, and the Zuka is going to come out to try and stall that push. Doesn't find any picks in the process, and that lag is going to allow Final Fantasy XIV to move up. They find a pick onto Luna, but unfortunately, the drop of the Rainmaker is going to mean that Final Fantasy XIV can't get extra points on the board. The Rainmaker Char is going to be able to move a little bit forward, but the push being stalled out so long is certainly making it difficult. But it seems to be happening nonetheless. The Zuka coming out from Z-tier players slows things down, and my god, the fight has just been going slowly back and forth and back and forth. All the while, Chara has just been sitting there and just pestering Z-tier players with that Rainmaker. Really good passive play. Once you have that lead, you can afford to do that sort of thing. Finally, though, Z-tier players has a bit of a foothold.
Yeah, you know, when Chara fell off, and, you know, we heard the crowd go, oh, they've bought themselves enough of a cushion that that mistake doesn't even really count as a mistake that much, because they can just afford to burn time here. You know, and they even were still able to get more points off. Z-Tier have not really crossed mid so far. They're going to need some kind of big explosive team fight right here. And with Chara and Kaden teaming up like that, I don't think they get it here. They got 3 between the two of them, and it's just offense again for FF14, deciding to pick it up and have control of the Rainmaker through what could be its final carry. They're taking a much more defensive position right now, forcing Storm and Luna to dive off the side here and go after them. They do get the pick, but it's in the corner, and it's going to be really difficult to get out.
Yeah, just taking that Rainmaker to a safe and secure place, making it as far away from the spawn as they can get it, but somebody needs to pick it up. All right, the coolers finally come out. That's going to be the Rainmaker grabs, but Chara swooping in, getting yet another direct. That's going to be the splat that seals that game, and my goodness, Z-Tier players only touched the Rainmaker once, and when they did, they could do nothing but backpedal. That was just breakneck aggression coming out from from Final Fantasy XIV. What else can we expect out of the critically acclaimed MMORPG?
Truly one of the video games of all time.
The 14th, actually.
I've heard that people really like the developer support for that game. So, you know, shout outs to those devs. I'm sure they've done a great job of developing this Splatoon team.
They created them in a lab.
Yeah. You think Chara masterminded all of this? No, silly. It was Square Enix.
Oh, gosh, Squeenix coming out with one drop of the incredible RPG battle system, a bit of the MMORPG itch, and a little bit of cat ears, and putting it all together.
Yeah,
Tetsu's
a lot of cat
favorite
ears,
game.
probably.
A lot of cat ears and a lot of different animal ears, I think. You know, I feel like it's an entire universe in there. Like, every time I talk to someone about Final Fantasy XIV, that they're like, they have like an entire world and there's like 10,000 species and there's like, they've been playing the main quest for like 50 hours and, you know, and it's like, it's an entire world out there. But yeah, it's going to be Z-Tier players who's going to need to drop back to Earth in order to really contest Final Fantasy XIV here, because they did not stand much of a chance on that map. Perhaps it was the long range that they just did not have a way to deal with it. The Zukas were not quite landing, and it felt like Final Fantasy XIV was able to just stall it out. Here we go, Gem, hopping back into the game. 1-0 Final Fantasy XIV. Z-Tier players looking to get on the board.
Yeah, this is a map mode that I think is a little bit less dependent on having like a solid anchor choice. But we've got a Kraken. It's interesting because there are some areas here that are kind of difficult to contest with the Kraken when you're pushing through those crucial checkpoints towards the end. But I could definitely see it being used to open up the fight in the middle here. I'm curious to see how they end up using that. There is also a blaster coming out from FF14 here to try and control the tower and also probably get big bubblers onto it. Oh, that is a massive team fight win there for FF14. And coming up absolutely huge on that Zuka. Still, the trades do come back in, so as devastating as that looked on our screen, the numbers actually go back in favor of the Z-Tier players here because of all of those trades. So, Kraken going in, we're going to see what it's going to be able to get done here. It will force 2 players away, but it doesn't look like it's going to get any picks, and it's going to transform right here, which is very awkward for them. So that's a couple players down, and no checkpoint to be seen on the other end because it looks like, in the meantime, the tower area was controlled by FF14. So well played there to handle the aggression from the Kraken. We're going to need to see something more creative than that for it to see impact.
Yeah, they definitely need some extra members doing that same thing. And speaking of doing that same thing, Kaden and Stormy are just twitting with the Ink Zukas. Not going to find any picks out of that situation, but that is going to secure them the first checkpoint and already get them farming that Zuka again. Now Chara on the blaster, sweeping out this ledge that's going to force Z-Tier players all the way back into the spawn. The second checkpoint is going in Final Fantasy's favor, but it's going to get shut down as the members of Z-Tier players are able to swarm that top left, just outpaint the blaster, and were able to dodge these Zukas. That gives them the leverage they need to really grab back mid. And now already 2 minutes into the game, we have a big push that Z-tier players needs to contest with, and it's going to have to start with some kind of coordination off of that Kraken. I'm hoping to see 5th Gen move in with that Kraken and see like a Zuka come out in the process, running right into the wall. 5th Gen able to just drop down that wall in time to win the fight, but Final Fantasy XIV continuing to try and push nonetheless.
Yeah, and they didn't quite get to the checkpoint last time, but man, I've seen 34 be a winning push on this map mode. That was still pretty good points for them, and they're happy to have the tower pushed this far back because that's going to give them more chances when Z-tier starts to try pushing. They've got all their players back. They've got the big bubbler out in mid in a very annoying location that's going to be a good base of operations for FF14. They might be able to collapse on Storm Hero there. They do, but Storm Hero's counterpart gets taken out as well, so even trades so far. And we need a lot more than that to gain any kind of advantage here for Z-tier. Char getting into a very difficult position to contest with that AoE blaster. Hits another shot there, huge one from Chara. 5th Gen going in with the Kraken now, if anything, just to survive. But it doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of value except stalling the tower right here. They do get Tetsu, that is a big deal. But they might not be able to stop the push right now. It looks like points are going to continue to tick down.
That was just despicably devilish there. We saw the wall come out right on top of 5th Gen, and he couldn't paint his feet as a result. Team Final Fantasy is moving forward. The tower moving to that final checkpoint. Multiple members are down in the process, though. Luna finds a couple picks there. That is a nice stop after what looked like a very dominating push from Final Fantasy XIV. And now, Z-tier players is going to need to get these stray picks if they want to get a tower push online. Zap hits them 10 billion times but does not find the pick in the process, but the rest of Z-tier is going to continue the tower's pressure. Now, a clean opportunity for Z-tier players. That top right is in the back of their mind. They know they need to attack it. They know they need to stop the blaster from sitting up there. They cannot allow the tower to get spaced out. The first checkpoint is going to go in favor of Z-tier players as it's spaced out, and multiple picks come off of the Zuka in the process. Zuka from Kaden finds a singular pick, a second pick, and that is going to stop the tower push. 5th Gen hoping to continue things, but this Kraken, bye-bye, taking a bit of a swim. The extra knockback helping Final Fantasy just clean up Z-tier players.
Back into the murky waters from whence it came. The Chara's blaster is in a very difficult position. Gets 2 directs, and how do you contest it? There's a big bubbler. That is how you use that big bubbler aggressively. You put it somewhere where they can't contest, and that makes it a lot more difficult. The challenge is getting it there in the first place, but if Chara can sneak in there, that is absolutely a strong offensive play. Chara's getting in there again, gets a trade on Storm, and the bucket goes down on the right. That's Gus. Storm Hero going to be trying to just zone them out. Doesn't even really have to do much. They can just pre-fire, and that's probably going to end the game here. 5th Gen going to be trying to use that Kraken to keep it alive, and Storm is actually able to get up there for a moment, but Kaden shuts that down, says, nope, our tower, our game.
Well, things were looking a little bit better that game for Z-tier players. They definitely got a foothold and they had an opportunity to get a push, but they were not able to get into the top right. I really like the ideas they were putting forward with the Kraken, especially just having wall 96. Definitely made it more difficult for players like Kaden to just get up and aggressive with them. There wasn't as much room on that map to kind of just space all of Z-tier players out and force them to rely on like Zuka, but nonetheless, Final Fantasy XIV was able to come out on top, so now Z-tier players on their last legs, they are trying to fight against a 4th place finish, which is absolutely respectable, but they have their eyes on more, and they know that that Final Fantasy XIV can bleed after seeing them drop from winners to a whole group of newcomers as well. So who knows what we'll see on Clamblitz Mako Mart, which is undoubtedly going to be a fast-paced game with lots of splats going on from one side to the other.
Yeah, that's a map mode where you start really, really close to the objective, to the enemy basket. You can get there in very few seconds. So the momentum swings can be very fast there. And I think, you know, based on what we were seeing from Z-tier, how they need that explosiveness, they need that push through, that might play into their favor.
Mm-hmm.
You know something I just realized? This looks a lot like a GameCube memory card.
Yeah, so... Okay, sorry. Funny thing you should mention that, because my original idea was, you know the Sans Disk memory cards?
Yes.
My first idea before I decided to cosplay Deadfish was have it say Sans Disc and just put Sans Undertale on it, which would have also been funny. But I'm happy with what we decided with. We, the royal we, being plural for no particular reason.
Yes.
Yeah. Both these teams have a little bit more in mind. They have their eyes on a prize, and I think that after dropping from winners, Final Fantasy XIV looks a little bit angry. They want their way back, and they're going to claw their way to it, no matter what it takes. Z-tier players is going to have to contest that now, bringing out the Tri-Slosher, while a Dread comes out on the other side. Chara, heartbroken over the Dread's new kit, is going back to the vanilla one because I think he believes it's going to be the better one, no matter what. We'll see what these buckets are going to be able to do fighting in mid on one of the best bucket maps in the game.
Yeah, Chara immediately going to that right stack and backing everybody away from it, and that gives just a little bit of a push to get through mid. So now Z-tier starting that fight on the back foot, but they've got to get these picks, and they do. Two go down there, and they've got enough to make a power clam. Caden gets that in. Bomb will take out Storm Hero, and that's a lot of the clams that they had to put in. So that buys Z-tier a lot of time. They might be able to make something of that. They get two. Can they get the rest of these players in mid? Chara able to back off with that range of the Dread, but that will not splat. Gus is able to take them out with just a single swing of the bucket.
Well,
so
yeah,
4 of them are back in mid and fighting for it.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that Dread kind of doing its Dread thing where Char was able to multitask and help out 2 fights at once, essentially. But relatively small push. Z-tier players is happy to see that bouncing back into the middle of the map. They're going to have to shut down Final Fantasy yet again. They're gearing up for a bigger push this time. They find 2, 3 picks. That is going to be Caden and Spawn, a full wipe. Gearing up for another Zuka, not able to farm one just in time. Storm has become a power clamp. I don't think anyone notices him just yet, but 5th Gen shooting the imposter power clamp, able to find the pick. The push is going to continue though, but that's 3 members down. The clams are just trickling in. They seem to be put to a full stop at this point. Z-tier players is able to stop that push, but they need a lot of space to get a push going of their own. They've been trying for that for the entire set. Are they going to be able to get it here?
We love ourselves some prop hunt. All things considered, you get 2 shots that deep in the enemy base, and that doesn't result in a KO, and that's a win. They were in a lot of trouble, and the fact that they were able to clamp down on it as well as they did does speak well of them. But they still have yet to put together the offense, and that has been the question this entire set. Can they actually get in and score? And so far, the answer has been no. They've been shut down, shut out most of the time here. And so they're going to need to not just get picks and win fights, they're going to need to actually mobilize and gain control of space and get the clams where they need to go. Gus looking like they may have enough here. Will it be enough to really get anything started? A couple players go down on the part of Z-tier, and I think FF14 is just going to walk out of here with 80 remaining and a new pity clan.
Yeah, Z-tier players has had a hard time getting in and just getting a big push. Final Fantasy has pretty much gotten a lot off of anything, and they've especially caught Z-tier players off guard a lot with the push forward. Oh my goodness, the push forward into die into oops, my teammate had a Zuka, goodbye 2 players, and it feels like Z-tier has just not. They've been eager to move forward, but they have not been taking account of these Zukas and just consistent presence on the map that they provide. Z-tier still struggling to get in while Final Fantasy locks them out. Storm is going to look for a pick on the right side. They don't find it with the Zuka, but that is going to still solidify them some space. That's still picks going in the direction of Z-tier players, but they're really going to need to find a spot to survive. And just give your teammates time to build clams, because these constant trades are not conducive to a big push. Storm Hero behind the enemy team. This is just making things more and more and more difficult for Final Fantasy.
Oh my goodness. Caden is cleaning up here and getting ready for what could potentially be another push. Okay, not anymore. Zuka says no. Storm Hero taking over in the same position, getting the trades. And again, FF14 is happy with these trades because trades maintain the status quo. Trades make it so that the way the game is right now is the way that it will stay. And they have a 29-80 lead. They are happy with things staying exactly the way they are right now. So we need Z-Tier to put on a little bit more of a controlled, clean fight win for us to be able to see this lead swap over anytime soon. Gus is getting in there, but they collapse on it a little bit too quickly, and that doesn't even make it to the basket. They're able to get another pick, and they're going to get these two in, but do they have enough? Wait, this is actually getting close. There are only so many players, but they're maybe in position. There's one more. 5th gen needs to come up huge here. Gus is coming in with clams. Can Gus get that one angle that they need to score 3 more? They get the lead with 2 seconds to go. And now they have to play defense, but do they even have time to get back there before Tetsu can get in with his power clam? There's so much control on the board right now for FF14, and they only have so many points they have to go through before they get the lead. But it is more than just a power clam and a few. They need a big one. One of the power clams goes in, but the player is down immediately.
Oh. Just the 3 power clams. You don't know what angle they could attack from. Final Fantasy XIV just rebounding after the first big push of the set from Z-tier players who did such a good job that game, clawing their way back. Final Fantasy XIV just says, you can't guess all 3, and is able to attack from multiple angles at once. We saw the pressure, so the Zuka gave space so that the first power clam could make it in, and even if you take them out in the process, that means you're committing your attention towards one side of the map. The power clam on the other is able to make its way in. So just really, really well played and great spacing throughout that set from Final Fantasy XIV. They were just able to play their positions extremely well throughout the set.